Kalau kita boleh cakap Munif in 3, 2, 1 Okay, our favorite character, the character name 3, 2, 1 Maureen.
Maureen.
Okay. Hey, what is up my good people? Okay, untuk video kali ni aku nak buat sesi spoiler talk untuk siri TV yang tengah hangat sekarang ni, iaitu siri TV daripada Astro Originals yang berjudul Good Boys Go to Heaven. Jadi, nama aku Hadi Abdul Hamid daripada channel dan juga page Hadi Abdul Hamid. Aku nak perkenalkan juga. Biarkan diorang perkenalkan diri mereka sendiri. Okey, mula daripada panelis yang pertama.
Assalamualaikum dan salam sejahtera guys. Munif Malik mewakili Buzzpop. So hari ini kita sembang sikit lah pasal Good Boys Go to Heaven.
Okey, kita punya panelis yang kedua pula.
Hai, nama saya Suresh dan saya adalah peminat siri ini.
Okay, so basically Good Boys Go to Heaven, siri yang memang sangat-sangat sensasi sekarang ini, dengan kebanyakan yang siri yang melahirkan banyak detektif threads, detektif netizen, dengan pelbagai spekulasi mengisahkan tentang kes pembunuhan seorang kanak-kanak bernama Ahyan, yang mana kes ini boleh dikatakan diinspirasikan daripada kisah sebenar lah. Dia punya kes sahaja, tapi cerita dia sangat-sangat berbeza. Dan seri ini dilakonkan oleh Beto Kushairi, Zahira Ahmed Wilson, Mila Mohsin, Malik Mekron, and then Sky Iskandar dan ramai lagi lah pelakon. Amirul Effendi pun ada dalam ni, Ahmad Daeng dan banyak lagi pelakon-pelakon yang lain. Basically is a not a detective noir, it's a mystery series lah. Misteri pembunuhan seorang kanak-kanak dan macam mana sebuah misteri ini membongkar tentang rahsia yang lebih silam. Tapi nama cerita Good Boys Go to Heaven, cumanya ceritanya tentang seorang kanak-kanak. So, mana boys tu pergi? Ni yang kita nak kupaskan dekat dalam sesi spoiler talk kita pada video kali ini. Dan okay, kita mulakan dengan review secara brief. Personally, bagi aku, Good Boys Go to Heaven ni merupakan salah satu siri yang berani lah daripada Astro Originals. Berani sebab apa? Sebab mengupas satu isu tentang bukan setakat pasal pembunuhan kanak-kanak semata-mata, tapi juga menekankan isu tentang child abuse, tentang mental wellness seorang ayah, seorang lelaki. And then cerita dia pula banyak bermain dengan emosi dan juga banyak bermain dengan psikologi. And keseluruhannya siri Good Boys Go to Heaven ni mempunyai premis yang sangat cantik, sangat menarik. Cumanya masih macam personally bagi aku yang menonton boleh dikatakan a good amount of mystery series lah daripada Netflix, daripada HBO Max, mostly daripada luar negara. Bukanlah nak membandingkan ke apa ke, tapi boleh dikatakan ini cubaan yang baik. Cuma aku rasakan mungkin boleh banyak lagi yang diperbaiki dekat dalam siri ini. Lakonan semua memang bagi aku agak memadai, especially daripada Beto Kushairi, daripada Amirul Effendi, semua pelakon-pelakon dalam filem ni. Dan aku rasa kita akan kupaskan lagi nanti apa yang bagus, apa yang kurang bagus dekat dalam filem ni. Dan secara keseluruhannya, kalau skor awal yang aku boleh bagi pada siri ni adalah 7/10 bintang. Okay, kita mula dengan Munif pula. Kau punya brief review untuk siri Good Boys Go to Heaven ni.
Okay, so untuk pendapat ringkas aku lah pasal series Good Boys Go to Heaven ni, dia ada duality tau. Ada two sides of aku punya opinion about the show. The first one, aku boleh kata yang this series is important dari sudut the boundaries that they push lah. So aku anggap series ni to a certain extent dia macam kau this frontier explorer, kau pergi ke tempat-tempat yang belum dibuat peta tau. You explore new grounds untuk orang kata Malaysian punya TV series lah, or at least the commercial punya TV series kan. So the topik-topik yang I'm sure kita akan kupas as the conversation goes. Tapi basically aku appreciate, aku rasa this is an important TV show sebab dia push the parameters lah of what is acceptable for Malaysian TV to produce kan. Tapi on the other side of the divide, aku pun berasa yang they could have done a lot better with the execution. Aku tak tahulah, maybe it's because we're treading new grounds and maybe the focus tu lebih kepada nak push the boundaries. But then bagi aku the basic things that makes a palatable punya TV series or whodunits lah, especially untuk the genre for Good Boys Go to Heaven ni, aku rasa sedikit tercicir in parts di situ. So kalau before kita kupas, then aku punya overall punya score of the series, aku boleh bagi a slightly above than average 6 out of 10.
Alright, okay. Dan Suresh pula, brief review.
I'm a person that actually consumes a lot of television. So, aku tengok cerita ni pun sebab atas basically I follow the hype lah, alright. So the thing is, so I just okay, for a Malaysian show covering a mystery death show is very seldom. You know, susah nak dapat. Yang menarik lah, and I find that this show breaks new ground in the sense that it covers very sensitive topics, and I have to give credit where it's due. Topik-topik yang sensitif yang di cover digubah dengan baik lah. Is handled in sensitivity, and my problems with the show is actually on the narrative front, because I feel that the storytelling could have been a lot better, and I think this is something that we will actually discuss in depth later as we go through the pod. But I am quite happy actually in the sense that we are being daring enough to do TV shows like this, and I hope this isn't the end, it's the start of more shows like this, because I think the whole of Malaysia is talking about this show. So yeah, it's a good sign lah. So I hope that we get more shows like this, and kudos to Astro Shaw, to I think Shafiq Kyle,
Alif Zulkarnain as a writer, Mira Mustafa as a writer.
Yeah, so yep. My initial review for this, I think I give it a soft 7 out of 10, purely because for a Malaysian show, it's a really good effort lah.
Okay, that is our brief review and early score untuk review untuk siri Good Boys Go to Heaven ni. Dan okay, kita terus pergi ke sesi spoiler talk kita. Pada siapa yang belum tonton, this is the limit. Korang boleh terus tutup video ni, jangan tengok lagi beyond this part, sebab kalau korang tak nak kena spoil, because we are going memang totally deep into spoiler territory here. Jangan marah kita orang pula kalau tiba-tiba kata apalah spoiler cerita baru keluar apa semua. Tak, ini salah korang sendiri. Okay, kita start dengan kita punya first topic, the revelation of the culprit. Finally di reveal Mak Bahamin rupa-rupanya yang jadi ni. Tu bukan spoiler. Aku dah kata jangan tengok. Dah kata jangan tengok beyond this part. Kan dah kantor ya. Degil lah. Okay, but for real, the real culprit in this series, pembunuh sebenar Ahyan, iaitu Anwar Nahar. Dr. Anwar Nahar, iaitu suami kepada Maureen, ayah kepada Mia. Ramai orang yang predik mak kepada Ahyan Dahlia lah, Bahamin lah, Ustaz Rehan. Yang yelah, macam yang paling pelik sekali, Mak Bahamin yang terlantar lumpuh tu pun jadi ni pula kan.
Dia kena pura-pura lumpuh kan. Itu dia bangun malam-malam bunuh Ahyan.
Yes, but it's not okay. It's not the culprit yang kita nak kupaskan sangat pasal benda ni, because the one maybe later on kita akan lebih kupas lebih mendalam lagi. But now we want to go into the deeper issue tentang kes penderaan seksual kanak-kanak. And it's not just penderaan seksual kanak-kanak yang kita pernah tengok dekat dalam siri TV ataupun filem-filem lokal sebelum-sebelum ni. Dia lebih kepada macam satu yang even aku nak ceritakan pun aku rasa macam lebih meloyakan. Because dalam cerita ni ditunjukkan Ayan dibunuh, yes, dan Yasir menjadi salah seorang daripada suspek dia, dan kemudian kita pun macam questionkan kenapa Yasir ni macam ada PTSD, ada something yang dia tak ceritakan. In the end, rupa-rupanya Yasir waktu kecil dia pernah didera oleh ayah dia.
Yeah.
Didera secara seksual. Maksudnya penderaan seksual ni bukanlah dia dipukul ke apa benda ke tak, tapi menjadi mangsa nafsu bapak dia sendiri. So bapak dia sendiri ni main dengan anak dia, anak lelaki pula tu. Dan tak cukup dengan Yasir, Bahamin dan juga siapa nama kawan dia seorang lagi?
Zaid.
Zaid tu pun kena, boleh kata kena bapak dia dengan bapak Yasir kan. I mean like it's really a taboo thing to explore
Banyak tabus.
in local series, local cerita lokal. What do you guys think about it? Macam how good or how bad it is they handle this kind of situation?
If you ask me,
yeah.
The thing is this is happening in our society.
Yep.
And the fact that banyak orang yang kena diperlakukan benda macam ni, dia malu untuk tampil. Yeah, so I think this is one of the reasons why this show is very important, is that at least now people watching it and who have experienced penderaan seksual, I think they know that they should at least come forward lah, because you tak nak benda ni berlaku kat orang lain.
Yeah.
You know, and tak nak benda ni berterusan. And I think it's important that they seek help. Yeah. And
So it opens for them to macam dia, maksudnya cerita ni pun berguna juga untuk masyarakat supaya boleh terbuka mata lah tentang kes ni.
yeah, so it's not something that you should feel ashamed about lah, because it's not your fault. You know, benda tu berlaku pada you, bukan benda you're not something that you want.
Yeah, because interesting is that dalam siri ni pun ada that one episode bila dia tunjukkan flashback all the friends of Yasir semua ni, bila watak Bahamin sendiri kena rogol kan dengan Pak Man, dengan bapa Yasir. Then lepas tu the response from his father alone so loud, macam bapa dia sendiri pun macam that's how the masyarakat society sekarang lah, macam bila anak kena cabul ke, kena harass ke apa ke, what they do bukannya pergi cerita ataupun pergi jumpa authority ke, berjumpa pihak berkuasa ke apa ke, tapi takut, sebab takut nanti bila dah besar tak ada orang nak dekat anak dia, tak ada orang akan nampak dia as a mangsa. I mean that kind of thing is in a way true. But also dia membuka mata kita yang nak bagi tahu, even kalau kau tak cerita pun, in the end bila dah besar pun it will mess the kid, sampai bila dah besar pun dia jadi someone yang macam bukan diri dia sendiri. So I mean like macam that kind of thing is really interesting lah. So mana kau rasa kalau macam benda, okay, contoh macam this is an interesting topik dekat dalam Good Boys Go to Heaven tu kan. Tolak tepi dulu benda-benda yang macam something yang tak berapa bagus ke apa dalam siri ni, but the issue itself, kau rasa how dia tu sendiri pada kau, apa efek dia sendiri pada kau?
Dia macam aku cakap during aku punya brief review of the series lah, which is I stand by what I say, yang this is important tau. And bukan kata important just because benda ni terlarang, benda ni tabu, jom kita langgar tanpa sebab kan. It's just that, like, you know, not to sound like some woke person lah, tapi representation is important sebenarnya, you know. So this TV series bagi aku, why I say it's important, because it opens up, orang kata, the chance for dialogue untuk this type of tragedies.
Yes.
So dia in a way, it bukan kata dia normalizekan benda tu, but dia normalize talking about the thing. Which is a good thing, sebab I mean, it's not just in sexual crimes pun. Even macam kat Malaysia, even until now, so many Malaysians macam rasa, you know, PTSD, depression, anxiety, ni semua mitos tau. Ni semua sebab itulah kau tak semayang lah, ni semua sebab ni lah mental kau lemah lah. And people just you know what, daripada aku nak cakap, lepas tu aku tambah beban lagi, baik aku diam je. So it's good that and it's again important yang TV series ni, bagi aku dia really tunjuk yang look, kau kena these things and it's understandable, benda ni sangat memalukan bila kau jadi a victim of these things, tapi especially bila kau kena masa budak pula tu kan.
Yeah.
It really tries to hammer the message yang, you know, you are not at fault.
Yeah.
Orang yang buat tu yang jahat. Whatever, how embarrassing, whatever you go through, benda ni bukan salah kau. And aku macam tak ingat when was the last time we macam ni so openly have this kind of conversation dalam a Malaysian punya movie or TV series lah kan. Sebab and bila kau compare pula to the kind of shows we had, you know, not too many years ago kan, kau ada cerita-cerita yang apalah jatuh cinta dengan kau punya perogol lah, apalah.
Yeah.
So macam daripada you don't talk about it, lepas tu kau romanticize it pula tu, until sekarang finally look, we can healthily talk about it and seek help and know who the monsters are, who the victims are.
Betul.
So bagi aku, looking back, especially in the Malaysian punya entertainment media lah basically, aku just boleh take 2 steps back and say, look at how far we've come. Dari tak cakap pasal dia, romanticize pula benda tu, yang tu memang era yang paling effed up lah. Lepas tu sampai sekarang, kau boleh cakap, yes, orang yang buat ni jahat, patut dihadap ke undang-undang. Kita yang kena ni, okay malu, whatever, but kita mangsa. And we have the right to ask for help. So yeah, that part of the show is something yang aku sangat appreciate. Whatever my feelings is towards the overall craft of the show lah.
Okay, that is the theme of the series yang kita dah kupas sedikit. Kalau kita nak sentuh pula tentang the revelation of the killer, the real killer kan. I mean like macam maybe kita boleh cerita the level of kita punya satisfaction lah when the revelation happen. To me macam aku rasakan bila ditunjukkan yang Anwar Nahar as the real killer, bukan nak kata aku tak surprise ke aku dah predict ke apa ke. I mean is a good suspect, a good revelation, tapi I don't really feel that satisfaction because the way the revelation from the first episode sampai ke episode 7 tu, cara dia bergerak tu towards to the end of the revelation tu, itu yang bagi aku agak kurang memuaskan sebab dia banyak bermain, dia terlalu macam tak subtle tau, macam nak tunjuk nak bagi red herring kat orang, tunjuk Ustaz Rehan, tunjuk Bahamin, tunjuk ni lah semua kan, tapi macam terlalu obvious that is a red herring. That's why aku tak blame bila ada orang macam pergi predict Mak Bahamin jadi killer sebab people will go to the most unexpected suspect dekat dalam kes ni kan. And yes, watak Anwar Nahar, watak kepada suami kepada Maureen memang one of the suspect yang macam ramai juga yang dah predict pasal benda ni. It's not the revelation itself yang macam mengganggu, tapi the journey to the revelation tu. Sebab aku always compare dengan cerita Mayor of Easttown. Mayor of Easttown is like macam kita nampak the story of murder mystery ataupun penculikan, mystery of orang hilang apa semua kan. But dia berjaya separatekan the issue pembunuhan tu dengan case yang lain, dan lepas tu at the end dia disulam dengan cantik. Macam yang ini aku taklah harapkan dia sama macam Mayor of Easttown ke apa ke. Ya, this is a local series. They already did a good job nak tarik audience audience local kan. Cumanya aku rasakan it's still like macam the writing or the mystery writing tu not sharp enough. Maybe you guys can elaborate about this thing.
Okay. The problem that I saw is that when you watch a lot of murder mysteries, you tend to look at people in the peripheral tau. Selalunya bukan watak yang difokus, yang paling obvious.
Betul?
Yeah. So the show went to a very clear extent to establish these are the suspects.
Yeah.
In the first few episodes, it's like these are the suspects, and Naha, the Anwar Naha has always been in the peripheral,
Yeah.
and the most obvious peripheral, you know.
The shadowy figure.
Yeah. So the thing is, from the first episode I already guessed
Yeah.
it was him, you know, and I was hoping that the revelation would add a twist, a sense that where there's a secondary
Yes, correct.
suspect,
Betul.
you know, that will push the series over the edge lah. You know, now it's good enough, but it's that there's no post discussion of like, holy shit, this, did you see that?
Yes.
You know, there's no that feeling because the revelation was done in the penultimate episode,
Yep.
and they just followed through
Yep.
in this episode, right? Usually most TV series, they keep that final revelation in the last episode.
Yes.
And the thing is, it's always something totally unexpected. Yeah.
So, okay, I think the problem is that this series trying to bring the themes yang macam kita cakap tadi lah pasal penderaan seksual apa semua kan. But at the same time diorang nak tunjukkan juga what they consider as good mystery. Ada suspect, ada the killer, ada the usual suspect, the police lah apa semua kan. I think dia ada sedikit macam kecelaruan identity which part of story dia orang nak bawa. Macam kita always discuss kan. Sometimes a murder mystery yang very typical murder mystery can be a good film, can be a good series if they have a strong team. Macam kita tengok Ship Detectives, kita tengok Widow's Bay. The mystery is very typical. Kita dah boleh agak dah benda tu. Siapa the killer apa semua kan. Others will disagree lah. Diorang akan kata macam a good mystery is something yang kita tak boleh expect. But contohnya, kalau untuk Good Boys Go to Heaven, kalau diorang go to the very simple route, tak payah nak letak sangat banyak suspect ke apa ke, we go already memang okay, dah dapat dah Anwar Nahan memang is the killer. But that's not the main thing of the series. The main thing of the series is actually the team. The sexual, the kid sexual
That's the
harassment.
focus lah.
Abuse or is the team dekat dalam siri ni. So I mean like macam if they focus on that, because the most good, the best, the great episode in this series, episode 4, waktu flashback. Bila dia tunjukkan yang all the kids semua kena abuse dengan Pak Man kan. That's the title of this series lah. Good Boys Go to Heaven, because it's boys yang kena sexually abuse dekat dalam siri ni. But in the end, diorang, I mean like Astro being Astro lah. Nak juga buat misteri, nak juga letak that gimmick yang macam create detective threats.
Yelah.
Supaya letak
The
because
whodunits
all the
whodunits.
actors, all the directors, writer apa semua, pelakon-pelakon, even artis semua pun macam siap letak. Tak, bukan Dahlia yang buat. Tak, bukan Maureen yang buat. I mean like that kind of part really attract the casual audience, but in the end you really shamble the series lah.
Yeah lah. So macam even for me, I can give a different perspective pasal the revelation pun lah pasal apa. Sebab aku tak dapat teka macam korang dah agak who the dalang is from quite early kan. Macam aku tak tau.
Yep.
Aku tak dapat teka because I stopped caring after a while. Itu sebab tu. So aku tak teka pun pasal because for me this is also my biggest criticism of the show lah. It's a double whammy lah sebenarnya, macam dua benda yang work together untuk buat aku malas ambil tahu. Kau tunjuk je lah siapa yang bunuh, nanti aku tunggu. Is because the first thing is orang kata the human characters dalam TV series ni are not responding to stimulus macam a normal human being. Tu masalah dia. So macam contoh Ustaz kan. So bila Ustaz tu betul tibai dia pasal buku tu lah, apa benda dia tahu buku tu macam ada shit, ada some drawings yang bukan aku buat tu. Aku diberi buku ni by the kid semua kan. So logically kalau orang approach kau, at least tunjuk, dude, this is not my, ada orang bagi buku ni, si budak tu bagi aku buku ni, I have no idea why. Aku tak lukis semua benda ni. So But then if we just add that scene and then macam Beto in his rage tetap tak percaya kau yang buat. So then we get to see walaupun they reacted normally to the situation tapi dia tetap escalated. Oh damn, tak boleh buat apa kan. Tapi ni instead macam dia tak cakap pasal buku tu. Lepas tu macam Zaira Matt Wilson tu dah yang polis tu dah tahan dia jangan pergi mana-mana. Dude, these photos Ayan ada dalam desk si doktor ni. Nampak semua ni. Jom join aku, let's go tangkap the doctor.
Yes.
Tak, dia lepas tu sampai Mamat ambil pisau tak kat dada. Kau nak halang, kau nak tembak kita macam. So because the human characters tak react to stimulus like human beings, it just comes off as a bit, it's a mystery, but because it's cheating.
Yeah.
It's a mystery because it's cheating lah. Macam kau main roda impian, kau pusing roda tu, saya nak pilih H. Memang ada H, tapi dia tak nak buka. Kau tak tahu kan jawapan? Kau tak tahu kan? Aku teka H, ada H, tunjuklah ada H. so memang misteri lah. Tapi macam it's an unfair mystery tau bagi aku. So that's number one. Sebab the human characters tak react macam a normal human being lah. And then the second thing yang aku dia macam sandwich lah. Benda kedua yang pair pula dengan benda tu is sebab Hadi pun sentuh tadi about the red herrings kan. Aku sedih sampai terlalu nak tabur banyak sangat red herrings and they so obviously red herrings.
Obvious.
Sampai aku jadi rasa macam malas. Again, dia pun ada kategori where this orang kata situations and people doesn't feel macam normal tau. So macam dia kau tengok cerita Ultraman kan. Minggu ni dia ni monster lawan dia. Minggu ni dia ni monster lawan dia. It felt like that tau. Macam every episode suddenly some guy yang maybe episode sebelum ni dia macam normal je. Tiba episode ni berdiri tengah gelap. Tanpa sebab
Terlalu
macam
obvious.
lihatlah saya yang bunuh. Lepas tu in that episode resolve bukan dia. Then next episode ada another guy. Saya lah yang macam tak macam orang normal tau. Tengah berdiri tepi jalan, tengah buat benda pelik-pelik tu. Lollipop nah bagi semua budak-budak je tengoklah aku bukan aku. So almost everyone we meet dalam kampung tu macam tu sampai aku malas tau. So last kali macam tak apalah just kau tunjuklah sebab aku tak boleh nak suspend aku punya disbelief because of that. Again, kalau kau tengok like other whodunits macam itulah kau tengok lah the Knives Out punya trilogy of movies ke, or even recently ni the very excellent Widow's Bay tu kan. Macam Widow's Bay tu aku dah bagi contoh ni bila aku sembang dengan Hadi and Suresh outside of this podcast pun. Aku cakap bila the psycho killer datang kejar dia seorang-seorang kat rumah, dia tak duduk lah rumah tu. Dia keluar dari rumah, dia lari jauh-jauh, dia ketuk semua pintu rumah dia boleh jumpa, minta tolong. Dia pergi stesen gas yang tengah cerah, ada polis, ada orang, dia minta tolong situ, terus tibai makhluk. So that's macam kita takut tak? Takut. You still dapat the feelings that the director macam tengah want you to feel tau.
Yes.
Tapi tanpa cheating by membodohkan the interactions and the human beings tau yang terlibat dalam dua senario. So aku rasa macam Good Boys Goes to Heaven ni, yes, it's a mystery and yes, fine, you got me. Aku tak dapat teka who the actual like killer is in the end. Tapi aku malas. Sebab aku tahu last sekali is tak dapat teka atas dasar cheap cheating. So benda tu is a bit of a letdown on my part lah. Macam again lah, that roda impian example tu. Kau dah teka H, dia petak tu tak mau buka. Lepas tu memang misteri lah.
Okay. I think to add on to Munif, which I agree with a lot of his points. The added part that I have to give in is that the characters are not three-dimensional.
Yes.
If you look at each of the characters, they are all you can surmise each of the characters to a paragraph. You know, maybe when the actors came into the project, they brought in like a backstory, they developed a personality profile and whatnot, but we don't see it. I think one of the main issues that I have with this is that I don't empathize beyond the what I see happen to the characters. You know, the thing is, I don't see what they do, who they are as people. You know, the Hadi brought up Mare of Easttown. Kate Winslet's character in Mare of Easttown is a single mother. You know, she has issues with authority. You know, she's three-dimensional. She has what we call that. She has relationships with characters.
Yes, ada depth kata dia.
Yeah, you know. So and all that informs the story.
Yep.
You know, so even if the mystery itself, like another example that you gave, that Sheep's Detective, the mystery isn't the big deal. You know, a lot of people can guess who the killer is, but because we care about the characters as a whole, and the characters are three-dimensional, and these are characters are sheep, by the way, they are three-dimensional. It gives us the sense of satisfaction of going on that journey with them.
Yeah.
And the thing is, now with this show, you're along for the ride lah, but you're not invested. You know, I personally don't feel like, oh shit, Yasir, why are you like this? I'm more frustrated that he's not talking in some scenes.
Yes,
you know, like,
yes.
oi, why are you keeping your mouth shut? You know? Yeah.
Cakap lah macam
cakap.
Tu kata itu cakap about the
the
cheating part
human
tu.
human not reacting like human. is it?
Yeah. So that's the thing lah.
That's for the purpose of
the
right
narrative
story.
choices and the character choices in the show could have been improved by a lot.
Yes.
You know, and the thing is, when I think about child sexual abuse, I always think about Mystic River.
yeah.
Mystic River. The thing is, the something happened to those kids when they were young. Another good example is Sleepers. If you watch Sleepers, it's a 90s show. It's also about child sexual abuse. You see the effects of them, what happened to them as children and what happened to them as adults. And this is a 2-hour film.
Yeah.
Yeah, 2-hour film. And the thing is, you feel whatever happened to them as a kids informed what happened to them as adults, and you see the journey and you know them. You know all these characters.
Yeah.
You
You
know?
can relate to with the character even.
As on a personal level, you know, I know what they're thinking, who they are, what their motivations are. And the thing is, like, people like Zaid, Bahamin, who are they?
Yeah. Kita nak tahu lebih lagi. The character dia benar kita nak tengok lebih lagi.
Dahlia. What job does Dahlia do?
Dia pergi mana? Dia pergi Langkawi masa bercuti.
You know, like what job does Maureen do?
Yeah.
She says she's busy, right? What job does that?
Token-
I'm sure it's mentioned.
Token wife.
I'm sure it's mentioned. But the thing is it's not, doesn't register. You know what the yeah. So that's my problem with the show lah.
Yeah,
Primary
I
problem
mean
with
like
the show.
macam that's why we get it. Kenapa cerita ni menjadi dekat mass audience, dekat local audience kan. But bila macam kita sendiri dah tengok a lot of other series or film, so that's why the comparison is inevitable lah. So that kalau korang dengar tadi pun, there's a few suggestion. You guys can check it out. We already mentioned Mare of Easttown. We also mentioned Sheep Detectives. Baru saja keluar. Aku rasa ada kat wayang lagi. And Widow's Bay. That Widow's Bay ada dekat Apple TV Plus. And Sleepers is a 1990s movie. Dilakonkan oleh Kevin Bacon. Dengan
Brad Pitt.
and Brad Pitt also in the movie.
Jason Patrick.
Yeah, really
Dustin
good.
Hoffman.
It's a really good movie. And another one is Mystic River. Yeah, Sean Penn, is it?
Yeah, Sean
Penn. Yeah. So yeah, korang boleh check it out. That series dengan movie bermain dengan misteri, bermain dengan penyiasatan, bermain dengan child abuse juga. So yeah. Okay, that's the theme dengan the revelation dengan the mystery part yang kita dah explore. Kalau kita nak explore something yang macam berkesan dekat dalam siri ni, yang aku rasakan macam something yang kita boleh shout out lah. How about the cinematography? This is basically the color grading segment lah. Kalau dalam review kebanyakan orang kan, the technical segment lah. I mean, aku rasa Suresh much more expert on this. Bagi personal, macam aku, I don't have really an eye of it. Aku tak berapa ada that ear of it also for the sound score and everything. But luckily we watch in Suresh TV with a great sound system and everything. Bagi aku, for a local series, it's good enough. But how about you?
Yeah, I agree with you actually. To me, the visually, it's actually a very very appealing show. It's actually very well produced.
Yep.
It's put together quite well. Music wise, I love the theme song.
Yeah.
The theme song is very very
well,
very
no.
very catchy.
Not only the theme song, I mean even the sexual abuser theme song yang bermain kat radio tu pun, I mean it's an innocent song actually. I don't know what's the song name ke apa ke, tak tahu itu original ke ataupun memang lagu klasik ke apa ke, but I don't know if kalau lagu tu tiba-tiba bermain dekat dalam kereta ke apa ke, aku takut Pak Aman ada kat belakang dia standby nak toron kan.
It adds character to the scene,
Yeah,
so to speak.
betul.
Yeah. Munif has issues with the train. So
Yeah, I want to talk about the train.
Yeah, so the thing is, if anyone that's watching this that can tell us in the comments whether the train is real, is it CGI, is it AI, we just want to know. The train that passes through, that appears in every episode, is it real?
Benda tu aku lagi curious pada the actual mystery of the show. Aku cakap, kereta api betul ke?
Is it
Tiap
real?
kali in every shot dia orang ada kereta api. Takkan dia orang tunggu ikut jadual kereta api tu nak dapat shot kan?
Is it real? Is it CGI? Is it AI? So macam in a way that is the real mystery lah sebenarnya dekat dalam siri ni. Okay. Alright, that is the technical part. How about macam babak, kalau korang boleh ingat lah, babak paling berkesan sekali yang macam memang buat, tak tahu lah, disturbing ke atau something yang memang meninggalkan kesan. Bagi aku personally, this scene always linger in my mind waktu Bahamin kena dekat dalam pondok tu. The young Bahamin kena dekat dalam pondok tu dengan Pak Man macam marah dia lah, kata jangan kacau Yasir apa semua kan. Lepas tu dia terus rogol Bahamin, tapi dia tak tunjuk lah, dia zoom out, then we can hear Bahamin suara kanak-kanak lelaki kan, macam meraung-meraung kata sakit-sakit. I mean that one is, kalau aku dengar suara dia pun aku rasa macam aku boleh mimpi ngeri lah. Because we imagine the worst things kan. That's the scene yang bagi aku sangat-sangat cantik, sangat-sangat meninggalkan kesan lah bagi aku, yang membuat aku rasa di series taklah berapa teruk sangat. Macam you guys pula.
To me, the best thing about the show is one man, Beto Kushairi. Yeah, the thing is, I always make a comment, right, that he is the best thing in everything that he's in, and I always wish that the surrounding elements rises to his level. That's the thing. And there's one sequence towards the end which is I think if you watch a movie called I Saw the Devil, it's directly lifted from that movie, okay, where like Yasir is walking away from the scene of the
shop house.
The shop house, the scene of the crime lah. He's walking away, and it's a single take of him walking away as the people at the back go out of focus, and it's just him processing the entire physically manifesting the entire trauma that he has just gone through, and it's outstanding, really outstanding. I think he to me he is the best actor in Malaysia.
Of course.
Yeah, and I hope he gets the accolades he deserves, and I really wish we can give him a project that he can really shine, and we can go show the world. This is Beto Kushairi, man.
Because kita kritik filem macam contohnya Gayung, tapi iyalah Gayung, and then lepas tu Reversi, filem-filem yang macam kita complain lah about the film, but Beto is not one of the thing yang kita complain dekat dalam semua cerita-cerita tu.
Untuk aku pula, kalau cakap say impactful, then it must be the first autopsy of Ahyad lah. Sebab bagi aku, what's that, in the first episode?
Yeah.
Yeah,
First
first
episode kan. So, bila aku tengok that scene, lalu okay lah macam, yang ni continue from what Suresh cakap pun, Beto was like acting his heart out. Macam going through the motions, macam disbelief. Lepas tu macam acceptance. Adakah acceptance? Belum lagi. And then tu bukti dah ada depan mata kau. Your son is gone, dude. Macam the world is cruel. Benda yang jadilah. This is a fact and he's gone. And you thought that was the worst of it. Lepas tu dapat tahu pula sebenarnya maybe ada bukti dia kena sexual assault. Lepas tu the autopsy tu jumpa pula macam 2 rod besi dalam dia apa semua kan. So, tiba-tiba aku macam, wait a minute. That was when I thought this series is different.
Yes.
That autopsy part was when aku first terdetik dalam kepala aku, kita tak pernah datang sini. We've never been here for a local movie kan. So padahal aku terus cuba fikir apalah benda last yang paling kontroversi macam sexually yang aku pernah tengok pun in a Malaysian show kan. It's just, yalah macam biasa lah, scene-scene macam kononnya rogol lah tu, camera pans away lah, keluar macam music hotel, nampak selimut bergoyang, you know those kind of like stupid things kan.
Yep.
Tiba-tiba yang ni, nampak mayat seketul kat sini, budak kecil pula tu, kena sexual abuse, aku ingat dah, oh they're going there. Okay, lepas tu 2 rod besi pula kat dalam, lepas tu macam, I see that kau tengah cuba pergi ke tempat yang kita belum petakan lagi. And I appreciate that sebab that was when I realised, you know, baik buruk cerita ni, however I feel about the TV series at the end of the day, kau tak boleh deny that they went places where orang kata Malaysians have gone before lah.
Yes.
In the industry kan. So yalah, the first autopsy tu, that was the most impactful for me lah in the TV
Yang
series.
membuatkan kau hook untuk nak tonton
Nak tahu what's
seterusnya,
next kan.
sampailah kau tak care.
Dia buat ni kan, what's next kan. Lepas tu penuh kan tu lah those weird red herrings and orang tak berkelakuan macam manusia. So macam, oh damn man, you follow up with this.
Okay, that is a few things yang kita suka dekat dalam siri ni. Tentang daripada technical aspect dan juga babak yang kita boleh teringat yang membuatkan kita hook dengan siri ini. And then, okay, kalau contoh daripada segi watak lah daripada segi watak yang paling kita suka. I mean, like Suresh already said that Beto Kushadi is the one of the greatest character Yasir dalam siri ini. Not really just a character, as an actor juga. But we know our favourite character in this series, me and Munif already know lah what is their favourite character. I mean, Suresh can join along lah. Kalau kita boleh cakap Munif in 3, 2, 1 okay, our favourite character, the character name 3, 2, 1 Maureen. Okay. I mean, we agree that Beto is a really great character dalam cerita ni, Yasir. Maureen tu, we don't want to elaborate. Okay. Kita terus pergi ke the next segment. This aku dah tak nak tanya dah. Watak apa paling best ke apa kan?
Okay, tadi kau cakap saya watak.
Okay.
Aku tambah lah satu. This more of like appreciation lah, which is bagi aku pada pelakon Ahian tu. Sebab okay, walaupun dia basically dari episode 1 dah mati kan, tapi dia they play an integral part to the story. But at the same time, you macam nampak dia in flashbacks, and not just that tau, you cannot exclude the fact yang there are other things that involves him, like the Polaroid photos lah apa semua kan. So, and then the flashbacks where ditunjuk the doctor tu actually was actively hunting dia lah tu apa jadi kat dia apa semua. So I felt that with the limited screen time yang dia ada, but there were a lot of footage and images where dia contributed juga to that. And for this kind of show, aku tak dapat bayang pun, you know what must have been going through his head, the conversations yang dia need to have maybe with the psychiatrist, with the productions, with dia punya parents, apa semua. And at that age, being integral, being central to a show with such a mature and dark subject such as this, and producing, the performance that he produced even within that limited time, aku just rasa, he deserves some appreciation
Yes.
because of that. Sebab pasal apa aku tengok dia, memang aku kesian tau.
Betul.
And even walaupun aku macam tak ada anak kan, tapi aku fikir, dude, macam tengok dia dengan lukisan-lukisan kecil dia, with his macam very small, frail body. Lah tu macam, dia pergi pula nak main bola. You have maybe aspirations to be a footballer nanti, hopes and dreams. And then dash macam tu je. I would destroy that whole kampung to find out who did it. Kau jadi kat anak aku macam tu. Yes. So, when I have that feeling, yang pelakon Ahian tu did his job lah.
Yeah.
Sebab bukan dia tak ada footage langsung. Dia scenes yang involve dia, aku macam actually agak terkesan because I have soft spot for little kids lah.
Yeah,
sebab aku pun jaga dua adik aku. Dua adik lelaki pula tu growing up kan, yang dua-dua pun minat bola lah apa semua. So whatever they were trying to convey through Ahian and through Ahian punya performance, it got to me lah.
Yeah.
So that's my appreciation kat situ lah.
Okay, kita dah sebut pasal watak yang kita suka dalam siri ni, which is Maureen, dan tak habis kan. Dan kita nak cakap aspek yang kita rasa macam useless aspect lah, boleh dikatakan kan. Sangat, bukanlah nak kata sangat-sangat useless. It's like macam dia ada dalam tu, dan dia sepatutnya memang ada dekat dalam mana-mana cerita misteri penyiasatan, tapi in the end jadi paling useless, which is the UKJ police. Watak Amirul Afendi, watak Amanda Ang as a detective, as an inspector polis dalam ni, yang I don't know, dalam ni totally rasa useless. Diorang tak ada peranan pun sebagai polis. Mana kau punya peranan sebagai authority dekat dalam cerita ni? Semua bukti-bukti pun nak kena disuap. Semua benda pun jadi macam sangat-sangat coincidence.
Okay, to their defense, tak ada orang suap mereka apa-apa pun. Semua orang tak nak bagi tahu.
Tak bercakap.
Tak nak cakap. Tak nak cakap. Dia tanya, tak nak cakap. Orang dia minta evidence, tak nak bagi.
Yeah.
But
I mean like macam, okay, that is the weird human reaction lah yang kita cakap tadi kan.
Aku cakap.
And then macam, we got a scene that bila Dahlia dapat that tape apa semua, then bagi dekat polis. I mean, that polis macam dia siap ada that one scene, inspektor tu cakap, Inspektor Amirul Afendi, Inspektor Kesmis ni cakap, dah 2 minggu kita kejar dia. Bila kau kejar? Bila kau cari? So, kita tak nampak benda tu.
in fact ending dia duduk kat roadblock je. Dia tak buat apa-apa.
Masa
Dia duduk
final
kat
showdown lah. Final showdown.
Dia
dekat
duduk kat
roadblock.
roadblock. So it's like, apa kejadah
That's apa yang aku rasakan macam benda yang macam kau patut buat simple. If you want to focus on the team, focus on the team. Tapi kau nak masukkan misteri juga. Tapi that really important aspect, the authority punya side. We kita boleh tengok macam contohnya macam dalam Knives Out kan. Ada watak polis yang mendampingi Benoit Blanc. Dia tak ada pemain peranan sangat. Dia memang dia tak, bukan dia yang menyelesaikan kes. But we can see watak dia useful. Lakeith Stanfield kan. Watak dia useful dekat dalam tu. Dia ambil keterangan lah apa semua. Very three-dimensional punya karakter juga. Tak payah nak makan kismis pun.
No, the thing is the Amirul Effendi's character is like, I pity him in the sense that the character itself is a caricature.
Yeah. Most of them
are.
He's a cartoon. And he doesn't fit in the show.
Is it purposely made just to make people, sebab bila aku tonton Watch Party episode 7, the series, the episode is like very somber, very gloomy kau semua kan. Tapi bila keluar je watak Amirul Effendi, orang gelak tau. Orang macam rasa terhibur dengan watak dia. Is that the purpose of the character? It's not a comic relief character ke apa ke? He's a very serious inspector yang macam kita nampak, oh, he's a douchebag inspector lah, he's a douchebag police lah kan. But still, we got a lot of douchebag police character dalam cerita-cerita penyiasatan sebelum ni. But in the end, the douchebag character become useful.
Yeah.
Tapi yang ini macam tak ada redemption point langsung.
And the thing is, the parts where they show him do investigation is the most basic investigation where he just goes to file cabinets
Check document.
and check files. That's the extent of his investigation though. We don't see him going through investigating, what you call that, interviewing suspects, you know, on site, going on location to go and see, this what you call that, Yase was here.
Kutip footprint
You know,
apa.
you don't see the work process.
Yeah.
There's a lot of just sitting around and going like, I know he's the killer. I suspect he's the killer. I have a very strong feeling he's the killer.
Dah lah salah.
Okay, he admit he's the killer. Why he admit he's the killer? That means maybe he's not the killer. You know, it's
The
just very
character writing lah. I
yeah,
think. It's the
yeah.
character
That doesn't feel natural. Asshole police officers is also a staple in the genre. There's plenty of asshole of officers.
Yeah.
But the thing is, I wish Amirul Effendi was given something a bit more three-dimensional for him to work with lah. He was written flat. You know, it's just a douchebag for the sake of being a douchebag.
Yep.
To add to his character juga, I think we all kind of agree Amrul Effendi punya inspector punya performance macam mana kan. I mean not really the performance how it was written lah. Sebab dia okay, before I even talk about the level of usefulness lah of the police dalam TV show ni, at the very least kan, orang kata figures of authority dalam this show should be formidable. That's another thing. And kadang-kadang bila kau tengok Amirul Effendi punya inspector ni, dia dah sampai jatuh tahap incompetent.
Yeah.
Dia bukan formidable. So macam for example lah, okay, macam Suresh cakap tadi, dia langsung tak ada evidence, tapi dia totally yakin Beto salah tau. And dah lah tekaan dia salah. Lepas tu dalam episode 4, boleh pula dia, while dia duk cakap aku tak peduli si Beto ni yang buat. Lepas tu bila macam Marhain duk serbu balai polis semua, jangan membuat spekulasi. But all you have is spekulasi. So macam dia buat tak apa. Tapi macam orang lain itu jangan spekulasi. Lepas tu bila seorang-seorang pejabat dia, ini buat aku tahu. Lepas tu salah.
Yeah.
So dia buat macam jadi polis tu useless satu, tapi jadi incompetent. So bila dia incompetent, so what is your role in the story actually? Sebab walaupun Suresh dengan Adi cakap okay, the police are useless kan, I think we can agree on that. But there's a step further aku nak cakap about the role of the police in the show is that bagi aku kan, useless is one thing, tapi kalau kau is not an element to assist dalam menyelesaikan the issue, another typical trope in other movies, ada figures of authority ni juga, then at least you become an effective hurdle.
Yeah.
Macam kau jadi a point yang memang buat orang geram, and you become one of the elements for the good guys to resolve, untuk bagi bila dia capai the truth and exonerate nama dia lagi memuaskan. So the police ni dia membantu pun tidak, tapi nak kata dia menghalang pun tidak, sebab dia pun dia jaga roadblock, orang duk keluar masuk balai macam tak jadi apa pun. So people are just, orang duk mampus, orang duk buat benda sketchy, orang duk buat benda shoddy, bukti terbang sana sini, dia orang tak react pun kat benda tu. So at the very least kan, kau tunjuk macam aku tuduh kau Beto, piss off kan, so kau masuk jail. And dia literally tak boleh keluar. So macam mana dia resolve this problem yang tengah jadi outside of prison? Dia kena pakai proxies ke? Dia kena communicate. So you know, macam kalau it's okay kalau kau tak bantu solve the issue. Sebab banyak cerita-cerita yang ada polis yang kadang memang dia tak solve the issues pun, but they add an element of, orang kata, intensity, sebab dia contribute kepada, dia pun jadi penghadang selain pada the antagonist.
Yeah.
But it's not that juga. Dia just macam jadi, it's just noise. Tapi it's a non-factor. So
Yeah.
Itulah.
The thing is, another way that you could have given the Amirul Effendi's character a sense of three-dimensionality is that you give some backstory lah, like why the fact that maybe he solved quite a number of crimes using his hunches before. You know that he
And
has
is competent.
Yeah, he has a knack of like sussing out who's hiding something. You know, he can, but all that is not established. So he just seems like a generic douchebag.
Yalah.
You know, and it's very frustrating to watch, like, you know, and maybe that's the intention, to have something people to go like, oh, you son of a bitch, you know, you want. You know, sometimes you want people to feel that way, but
that's
yeah,
something.
but this is as Munif said, like, this is a cheap way to do it, lah.
Yeah, it's true. And here's the thing, like, one last thing I like to add lah, just icing on the cake about the police, kan. And look, the movie Hollywood pun tak terlepas daripada kritikan of dia punya useless authority figures, betul tak? Dah macam orang dah mampus, dah jahanam, some idiot civilian dah resolve sendiri dia, dah sekali baru datang siren banyak-banyak, nak buat apa, benda dah selesai kan.
Betul.
Dalam TV series sampai ke sudah polis tu memang tak datang. kalau cerita lain lah, cerita Hollywood habis useless kan. Pembunuh tu dah mati baru
Datang. Yeah, at least datang juga.
Sampai habis
start
dia orang jaga roadblock.
Jaga roadblock. Jaga roadblock.
No, like the female cop, right? At the end, she stops them, and the Bahamin just stops her by saying that you let us through. You know?
Yeah.
Why?
What kind of
Then she's like, no, you tell me what's going on. No, you just let us through.
Let us through.
Okay, I let you through.
I mean, it's not banyak kali dia buat lah. Sebelum tu pun banyak kali dia buat lagi.
Lepas tu then after the suspects dah pergi ni, dia macam lepas tu dia pergi makan ke apa? Dia tak follow.
That's the thing. It's just very strange character choices.
Yes.
You know, that feels really, really weird. And the thing is, it could be a simple scene where you have them as kids. Maybe she was part of the friend group.
Yalah.
You know, she was like the amoy that was there. So the thing is, the fact that she has a history with all of them, a friendship
kawan
with all of
dahlia
them,
ke,
and the thing is, that's why she is berbelah bagi.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I know you guys are not bad people. That's why I'm gonna let you go.
Yeah.
Just something, just one line, just
Yeah.
Give it to us lah. In the end, bila tak bagi benda tu, that's why the character jadi macam very
tak
buat
macam
semua
orang.
decision tak macam orang lah.
Itu that's
Tak macam polis.
Jadi make you feel like, why like that?
Yeah. So that's
you get that feeling.
yeah,
I
that's
don't
why
mind kalau waktu dia racu-racu pistol. I don't even mind kalau tiba-tiba memang dia tembak.
dia tembak terus. Ellie ada shock value.
Ya, ada shock value.
So it is these things yang aku back to my first complaint tadi is that macam these people doesn't react like human beings.
Yeah.
So memanglah misteri kau menjadi because you cheating. Sebab bayangkan polis sudah terang-terang tahu, look, something's fishy going on with this group. Lepas tu dia cakap, let us go. Okay, pergilah. Lepas tu dia literally sampai habis the series dia tak follow through tau. And benda tu jadi banyak kali. So of course lah until the end, kau macam, siapa buat? Tak tahu. Memanglah polis pun terang-terang suspect dia buat benda pelik, tak follow up tau. Mestilah orang tak tahu siapa yang bersalah. So this is why I cannot give credit to you for juggling the mystery sebab dia macam cheating.
And to add to that, right, if you establish that close friendship between her and the group, right, then the whole ending punya where they bury the evidence, you know, where everyone gets off scot-free, makes sense because she is collaborating with
in on it.
She's the one that helped them bury the information. He's the one that helped exonerate Yasir. You know, she's the one that coached, you know, so then it makes sense, you know, but that relationship isn't established, and the thing is, it's just like, oh, okay lah. So that's why people keep saying these characters are useless, but I think it's just a couple of scenes, a few lines. You can add a lot of depth, you know, because you have 8 hours. to
Yeah.
tell this story. And a lot of this, like for example, I was giving you Sleepers is a 2 hour film, but everything is explained and all the character motivations are very clear. So there's no real excuse lah that you have 8 hours, then we don't have enough time to go focus on this because we want to focus on these 4 characters.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's too bad lah. So
Yeah.
that's the thing lah. Benda yang macam aku rasakan we all can agree, not only just kita je, bukan kita orang je. I mean like macam bila aku baca social media pun ramai juga macam perasan this kind of thing. I mean it's hard to not notice lah the uselessness of all these police officer dekat dalam siri ni. So okay, that's it. All the segment yang kita dah kupas tentang tema, tentang the culprit, the revelation, tentang benda yang kita suka, benda kita tak suka dekat dalam siri ni. I hope you guys really enjoy and thank you pada yang tonton sampai ke habis. Cuma nak bagi penutup sikit, since that this is not the first ataupun this is not the only good local series. I mean, obviously on surface looks good lah for all extra originals. Macam aku dengan Suresh pun, even Munif pun ada layan Project High Council juga daripada extra originals, which is a really great series, and Generasi Perfect 10 also is a good series. Banyak je series yang bagus. Kita bukan nak downkan cerita ni, kata jangan buat lagi macam ni, tak. This is a gateway to many upcoming series daripada, tak kisahlah Astro ke View ke ICE ke apa ke. Dan kalau aku nak tutup kita punya segmen, kita punya spoiler talk ni, maybe you guys can tell a bit harapan korang untuk kita punya local series macam mana in future nanti. Apa yang korang nak, apa yang
Okay, I can go first.
Yeah.
Okay, since we've covered the murder mystery and all that, which other local TV series has covered murder mysteries before, but I think I want to see more different genres. I want to see like more high concept horror, for example, high concept sci-fi, and like stuff like that, like a combination of multiple genres. And so I want to see variety in our entertainment scene, and the thing is, and I want it to be as exciting and as talked about and as well followed as this show.
Yeah.
It's always fun lah. When I remember when Project High Council came out, it was the term for it is water cooler shows. When you watch an episode, then you go into your WhatsApp group and they're like, hey, did you watch this episode?
Yes.
This happened, that happened. This, good or bad, there's a conversation. I want more shows like that. Yeah. That's my harapan lah.
Okay. Munif?
Untuk aku pula, aku take it back to aku punya experience when I was a lecturer and aku was teaching aku punya design students kan. Aku selalu bagi tahu dia orang this thing. Don't be afraid to make bad designs or whatever kan. Sebab good design, bad designs doesn't matter. Yang paling penting, you innovate and dare to come up with something new. So this is the same harapan yang aku ada for Astro Show or anyone who wants to produce a piece of local entertainment, is that yes, walaupun aku ada banyak gripes with this show, aku ada some comments with this show, but it doesn't mean I don't want more of this. Sebab as aku cakap, I believe this TV show is important sebab it broke so many new ground, so many taboos. And yeah, macam kata lah, even though I wish I rated it way higher than I did, but at the same time, this was a good attempt sebab you broke new ground. And that's most important for me than my personal entertainment.
Yeah.
So harapan dia is that dare to fail even. Tapi the one thing, the worst outcome, benda yang paling kau tak nak, is to produce something unmemorable, just another brick show in the wall. So even at the risk of failing, please just always break new grounds and don't afraid to do precisely that. Tu harapan aku.
Yeah. Okay. So that's it. This is our session for spoiler talk untuk siri TV Good Boys Go to Heaven daripada Astro Originals yang korang boleh tonton di Netflix, dan ada 2 bonus episod juga untuk siri TV ni yang hanya akan ditayangkan di Astro dan juga Suka. Dekat Netflix tak ada. So yang langgan Netflix dan tak langgan Suka tu, you guys can cry lah. But I think it's not the 2 bonus episode, it's just a bonus episode lah. Tak ada kena-mengena. Bukan tak ada kena-mengena. The 8 episode ni already
Lengkap.
konklusif, dah lengkap dah. So our review pun on this 8 episode. Beyond that, kita tak kisah sangat pun, because I heard that the bonus episode is regarding the POV of Ahyan, and then some more about the subplots yang tak settle ke apa ke, tak kisahlah. So yes, thank you pada semua yang menonton spoiler talk ni daripada awal sampai ke habis. Jangan lupa pada yang belum tonton lagi Good Boys Go to Heaven, boleh pergi tonton sekarang. And hopefully in future kita boleh bedah dan kita boleh kupas lagi lebih banyak siri-siri lokal, filem-filem lokal maupun siri dan juga filem-filem daripada luar negara. Alright. Thank you Suresh, thank you Monef for the session, and we see you, kita jumpa lagi in future, and see you guys. Stay tuned. Goodbye. Enjoy.
Ciao.